Hello, welcome to Wales, welcome to Brecon National Park. I've just parked in the village car park down there. I'm headed up onto the beacons. This is just an overnighter, despite the enormous pack. I've got my winter sleeping bag in there. It's a lovely sunny day at the moment, it's nice and warm, but I'm expecting it to get down to the low single figures tonight. So I've come prepared. I'm also packing a couple of luxuries. So this is a warm-up for some later, bigger adventures, but I'm also here to test out a couple of items. We'll put in a few miles, stop for lunch, and I'll show you the first. Coming into sight of some of the proper hills, so we'll head up there after lunch. I can show you now the first item that I'm going to test out, and that's this ration pack. But not the usual ones that I have, which are the British Army ration packs. This is a Polish Army ration pack. I've never had one of these before. Like I say, British ones, they're great. And American ones, I don't like. French ones, the main meals are fantastic. The rest of it's a bit odd. I had a Lithuanian one, that was interesting. But this will be my first time with Polish. So this is an 8-hour pack, not the 24 hours that you get with the British Army ones. And if you're looking for MREs, just be aware of that, because when you look on Army ration packs, the cheapest options, they're generally not 24-hour ones. And some of them are just single meals. Still got the homemade knife. Okay, we're in. Anguski, that's English. I think this is English stew. That might be lunch there. And it looks like it might be cold. Sausage and cabbage stew. That'll be the main course then, big nos. Yeah. So that's dinner. So we've got a heater here. One of the other things I'm testing out is not bringing a cooker. So this has got a chemical heater for the main meal. I'm not sure what you're supposed to do with that. What else we got? Instant something. Oh, lime flavoured instant tea concentrate. Crikey. Well, we'll save that for later. Some kind of biscuits. Shukri, special rusks. That might be lunch. What's this then? Dism Jacobi. Blueberry jam. Ah, that's supposed to go with biscuits, I guess. 2 packs of biscuits. Bits and bobs. Spoon. A straw, that's odd. And a fruit bar. Well, there we go. So yes, that is literally called English stew. Yeah. How intriguing. I'm not sure I want to eat it cold. Right, I say I didn't bring a cooker, I did bring a kettle. So let's fire that up. I think if I put this in some hot water, at least it'll take the edge off just being cold stew from a tin. Yeah, I got a feeling it's going to look and taste like dog food, but there you go. Right, let's deploy the kettle, which is that one. This is pretty cool, this is. It's like a mini version of a Ghillie kettle. That there, that's the kettle. You put the water in there. Inside is a cone. Put your fire in there. Put those two together. So this is the chimney. But it means much more of the heat from the fire goes into the water than you'd have just by putting a pot on top of a normal burner. And you can run it just off twigs, but what I've discovered works really well is to use one of these packs of fire gel and then chuck twigs in with it. So it takes 2 of these to boil the kettle, that's what it normally takes, 2 of these to boil my other cooking system, to boil the same amount of water. But what I found is one of these plus some twigs, and it's super quick. I'm getting some in there. So you should be able to light even in this breeze. And what I've discovered is that even better than twigs is this stuff, just little dried, like cow parsley or whatever. Just drop them down. Cool, that's boiling. Right, so I can just put that in the hot water. So we've got lime flavoured instant tea here, which I've no idea if that's a hot drink or a cold drink. I'm contemplating putting it in there. This water, by the time the heat's gone into the tin, it's going to be too tepid for what I would call a proper cup of tea. But maybe the lime flavoured tea concentrate will work in that. Oh, let's find out. So that's our main meal for later. That's the chemical heater, we need to heat it up. Could have a fruit bar. I might try the crackers. Yeah, we'll try the crackers. That's all right. It's like a cold lemon tea, but warm and tasting of lime. Just like that. Let's try a special rusk. Well, what do you think? Savoury or sweet? There you go. Ooh. Right, it's like a double density cream cracker. It's a very solid biscuit. Like ship's biscuit, like hardtack. So we're in the Brecon Beacons, and in a bit we'll be joining the Beacons Way just for a little while. The Beacons Way is on my list of trails to do. It's only 100 miles, 98 miles, 100 miles, something like that. But people say you should do it in 10 days because it's properly uppy downy. So maybe work up to that. So we'll join that fairly soon, I think, and then we'll just walk a few miles along that and find a place to camp. Right, that's been in there for nearly 10 minutes. Oh, crikey. Spam. It is, it's a giant lump. It's a big lump of spam. I don't know why it's called stew. It's not too bad, but I am very hungry. Pop that on the cracker. Not bad so far. I'm very curious to see what the main course is like. Right, so I'll finish my rock solid cracker and drink my pleasant lime tea, and we'll be on our way. That. Does it work? We'll be heading up there to the top. Slightly envious of guys on motorbikes. It would be I can always come back on a bike one day, can't I? They can be envious of me getting to places they can't. Joining the Beacon's Way now, and then we'll go up onto the peak up there. A popular spot for midweek. There's the easy route. We got this one. It just stopped for a little breather. I can show you where we are. So that was the car park where all the people were, and then instead of going directly up there, I've sort of come along here, and I reckon we're about here at the moment. So we're going to go up. This is the Beacon's Way, and it's just occurred to me that fan, and it's double L is cl, isn't it? So clear, I think it is, fan clear. Anyway, that'll be our next stop. So I'm going to try and find this cairn, and then we should have a view right across here. As you probably could tell, it's mental windy on top of the ridge. That wind is blowing up the valley that I was hoping to camp in. summertime I'd be tempted for a dip, but it's right at the beginning of April. That water will be... Right then, we're going to have a change of plan. You can probably hear the wind's picking up. I've got a microphone on, but it's probably still hardly hear what I'm on about. So, I've just checked. Let me find some shelter. Oh, there's nothing, is it? So this little spot here is nice and level. It would be perfect, except for the wind direction. So the wind direction is coming here. When we set off, it was a westerly from that way. Now it's a southeasterly coming straight up the valley. I just checked the forecast, and by this evening it's going to be an easterly coming straight in here. So by then this will be the worst possible spot to be camping, so let's not do that. So this necessitates a change of plan. I think the best bet is to go down into the valley. That's going to be the return route anyway, around the reservoir and back down to the village. So let's head that way and see what we can find. Come about halfway down the valley and it is more sheltered. It's not ideal, as you can probably hear, but it is a lot better. I think I'll stay here for a little bit, probably have dinner here actually, and by then make a decision on whether this is the spot for camping. So I won't put up the shelter just yet, but we can deploy one of the luxuries. Let's see if this was worth carrying all this way. That's right. It's a chair. Oh yeah. That, in fairness, that is very comfortable. Yes, very comfy. I'm going to try putting up the shelter and see what it's like. It's something else I wanted to test. What I've got here is a British Army Basher. So you might have seen me last year make a tarp shelter out of a bed sheet. Well, this is the real version, if you like. I've had this for years, but I've never actually had a night out in it. So this is just like the one I made, but tougher, more waterproof, but not breathable, which won't make any difference today. Let's see what we've got. So. Now there's a reason I set it up like this. Well, one, this is quite windproof, it's very low profile. But for two, I'm only using half of the width of the basher. And that's because I've got a bit of an idea for making another tarp that's lighter weight than the current one that I've been using. And rather than cut this one in half, I thought I could just make a half size one out of some lightweight materials. Anyway, if this works, you might see me do that. We'll see how far away you have to get before it becomes inconspicuous. Not bad at all, actually. That is quite a good spot. I'm gonna have a cup of tea and think about dinner. There is a version of this little kettle with a spout, which would have been better, but they don't come up very often second-hand. I was lucky to find this one. I think they're about £40 new. This might be a bit much. Well, I paid 20 for this one. Well worth that. And there we go. That was flipping quick. It's about 5.5 minutes I can get it down to with the one of those blocks and some twigs or grass or that cow parsley, dried out cow parsley stems. I should have brought some up with me, but I mean that wasn't bad, was it? So the kettle's one thing I wanted to test on this little trip. Not so much the kettle, but could I do without a full cook set? If I can just take the kettle, I can still have hot drinks. I can still potentially warm up an MRE by putting it in a mug of hot water. Not as good, but might do. Of course, tonight we're going to rely on the built-in, well, the heater thing that comes with the meal. They're also testing out some clothing. So, not this, you've seen this before. This is my RAF Gore-Tex jacket. On my last long hike on the Two Moors Way, I was wearing crag hoppers. I mean, in fairness, I only paid like a few quid for them, second-hand of course. But the pair I was wearing tore in the crotch on day one, which was disappointing. They're very lightweight. They dry super quick, but they're just not that robust. I did buy a pair of stretchy crag hoppers, which I paid full price for, about 50 quid, but they were awful. They were like golfing slacks. And I'm sure golfing slacks are fine if you're going golfing, but I'm not going golfing. Instead, I've replaced the crag hoppers with these. These are Austrian Army lightweight trousers. These cost more than the crag hoppers did, but well, 8 quid. I got 2 pairs at 8 quid each because they're defective. They're only defective because the zip has gone on one of the pockets. That's it. They're otherwise mint. There's some kind of ripstop, which is brilliant. So if I do get any unfortunate tears, it shouldn't be catastrophic. But they just feel really nice, light, but robust as well. Perfect balance. I then tried to buy some more pairs, but there aren't any. Couldn't find any anywhere. The trouble with army surplus is that if you're a normal sized bloke, it all disappears quite quick. I think if you're one of the extremes, if you're really big or really small, then there's probably plenty of stock out there on the second-hand market. Anyway, I think these, yeah, a winner. Well, I'm feeling pretty hungry actually. Let's see what was it cabbage stew, I think it was. I think the straw is because you can put that instant tea stuff in a plastic bag in here with some water, and then you could just suck it out there, I guess. Anyway, let's see what we got here. That's good. The instructions are in English as well as Polish on here. So I've used these things before, but never one quite like this, but I'm sure it's similar to all the others. So if you've ever had the hand warmers that you tear open and then it keeps you warm for 8 hours or so, this is the same sort of stuff, but it activates quicker because you can pour some water into it. So you pour water in here, wrap this around the thing you're trying to heat up and wait 10 minutes or so. Go face down, I think. So it just takes a small amount of water to activate the chemicals that are in there. There's a line there, so that line is when it's got something in it. So we'll do that. Yeah, that's about right. Fold the plastic sleeve over the meal, slide in the paper box, leave it flat, wait 12 minutes. Right. So the cardboard sleeve is just for insulation, and I'll put it in a woolly hat as well. And that's that. Right, I'm going to set my watch. Okay, 12 minutes. It's sizzling, I'm not sure it's supposed to do that. That's quite the reaction, I've never noticed one do that before. I might have put too much water in there. Okay, it's had 12 minutes. Time for the main course. Doesn't feel very warm. It's like tepid. Because the thing is, this wouldn't be easy to heat in there, would it? For a normal MRE, or normal as I think of them, comes in a pouch you could put in there. But this, well, I'll just have to crack on as is. I'm hungry anyway, so that probably helps. So this is cabbage and sausage stew, Polish style. That's pretty good. Yeah, I'm reasonably impressed. This is real food. Oh. Well, yeah, it improves the taste. They're still incredibly tough on the teeth. I've not got really good teeth. I've just seen what else we've got. These sweets. I was going to try the sweets, but one of them's a coffee sweet. I'm not in the mood for a coffee sweet. The other one's a vitamin C sweet. It's called a Dickie. Why not? Dickie. Well, that's a bit weird. Like a cheap boiled sweet with a hint of washing up liquid. It's got an aftertaste of costume, bathroom cleaner and geraniums. Very odd. In fact, I'm going to have some more fruit bar to take the taste away. The fruit bar's not bad, it's just a bit weird. Overall then, Polish food ration. Number 6. I would give that an 8 out of 10. I'm impressed, it's real food. The English stew, the spam, even that wasn't as bad as it looked. That was all right. And the sausage and cabbage stew, that's good, that's proper food. Biscuits, they're fine, they're just incredibly hard on your teeth. The lime flavoured instant tea, that was really nice. I'd take that on a just general hike. Not sure if it's supposed to be hot or cold, but either way, I think that's a nice drink. Fruit and cereal bar, which I'm eating now, that's all right. Chewing gum, didn't try that. Coffee candy, I'm not going to bother with that just for now. And the vitamin C candy, pretty weird. And the chemical heater, that was a disaster, but that may be user error, that one. Now, I did bring some hot chocolate. Maybe it's time for that. It's getting cold, actually. I'm going to put another layer on. I've never got on with down jackets. I've got this instead, this is a synthetic coat. Royal Navy. So it used to be the only good thing about army surplus was that it was cheap and durable, I suppose. But now it's reasonably cheap and it's super posh. I mean, look, whatever that brand is, that's my Gore-Tex coat. I looked up the price of this and I can't remember what it was now, but it's well over 200 quid. A lot more than I paid for it. Yeah, actually, apart from the shirt, this is Craghoppers. Super cheap second-hand, of course. I'm entirely in army surplus without wearing any camouflage. Yeah, these are British Army boots, Austrian Army trousers, and this is RAF and Royal Navy top. On an American style hat. So you can now wear army surplus without looking too Rambo. This is the British version of an American thing called the backcountry boiler, and there was a lot of bad feeling about someone nicking the design and whatever, but the American one wasn't the original either. It goes back to the Shiram volcano kettle, which you used to be able to buy in this country for car camping, a much bigger sort of thing, more like the Ghillie kettle, which again is not an original design. All of those go back to a New Zealand design. Somebody designed it and then gave up the copyright so that the New Zealand government could make it for the New Zealand Army during the Second World War. So now you know. But this is made in England, and it's called the M kettle. The Ghillie kettles always used to be made in England by the same company that makes these now, but they're now made in China. I have a Ghillie kettle and it's a great thing, but it's big. Even the little one is big, and I've got the big one. So, yes, it's a car camping thing only. This, though, I can see this replacing my Crusader cookset, particularly if I'm relying on dehydrated food. For the most part, you know, with the odd pasty and try and go past the village shop. Yeah, I think this will be coming on the next hike. I've got a plug for that. Obviously, if you put the plug in tight, when it boils, it'll get exciting. I'll just put it very loosely. Stop all these bits of grass going in there. Almost forgot it. Just a little bit of water, mix it into a paste, and then top it up. Katie taught me that, which was dead right. Very nice. chill spot. I'm glad that the wind has died down, which is great. So with the wind dying down a tad and being in this slightly sheltered spot, yeah, I'm pretty happy. So the sun's gone down over there somewhere, but look at the sky that way towards the east. Some lovely colours. So that's just the sunset reflecting off of those clouds. It's very pretty. Well, it's almost dark. Even though it's only 8:30, but I'm ready for bed. Right, let's see if there's enough flat ground. Oh yeah, that's fine. Yeah, it's nice and comfy actually. Well, good morning. It's just gone 6. It's not quite sunrise yet. That's a glow in the sky on the other side of that hill. I slept pretty well. Did get cold. I went to sleep with the sleeping bag just as a blanket over me, but woke up in the night, had to fully zip it up, and I'm actually very glad I got these thermal trousers and the thermal top. Yeah, I needed a lot. Not sure what temperature it got down to, but it was, yeah, it was cold. So I'm very glad I lugged this winter sleeping bag up here. The moon's still up. It's crazy to think it. The night before last, 4 people went round the back of that, and they're on their way back now. It's even crazier to think it's been over 50 years since somebody last did that. This would be a good time to give you my rating for the experience. I'm going to say, as an overnighter, 9 out of 10. Really nice location, stunning. Really nice walk to get here. Even the food I enjoyed. And it's nice to do something that's completely unknown and have it work out. That's great. It could have been a disaster because I got very little backup food. I got a couple of chocolate bars, that's it. But that was good. The only thing I wish I'd done differently was pack a bit lighter. So the luxury items, the winter sleeping bag and the comfy chair. The winter sleeping bag I was very glad for last night. The chair, it was comfy in the evening, but didn't use it at lunchtime because, well, I just found somewhere that didn't need a chair. And as you can see now in the morning, I'm not using the chair either. You can sit on your pack once it's packed. So the chair, it was good, but it didn't earn its place with the weight that it is. It wasn't worth an extra kilo. So my pack was 18.44 kilos when I set out, and that's with food and water on board as well. And it just goes to show, I thought, well, it's alright, it's only an overnighter. But even just for an overnighter, I think it's good to get the weight down. So that'll be my mission for the next one. So loses a point for that, otherwise, spot on. Really enjoyed it, really nice. This is all open access land, so there's no need to stick to a trail. Well, there isn't a trail. Open access, by the way, doesn't mean you can camp here. That's still not allowed. But it does mean you're not traipsing through actual fields of crops and so forth. Gosh, it's very beautiful walking along here. I didn't expect the return leg to be so idyllic. How are you? There's the pub where I started. Well, I hope you enjoyed that. I certainly did. I'll see you on the next adventure. Cheers for now.